aggressive, power style, and that's what he delivered.
Usain Bolt storming through, he takes
Puyol with a flying leap.
Though taking them out in the lead and really...
He pulls up for a three, yes!
A good shout for a handball. He's cleared it. Fernando Torres.
It's a beautiful Saturday evening in the city of Lagos. Thanks for joining us on the biggest, the boldest and the very best of sports show on TV. It's Sports Update on Core TV, where we give you the very best in the world of sports. I'm your host, BROWNSON. When I'm sure right now in Brazil, it's hooray all the way as the Brazilian national side has progressed to the quarterfinals of the ongoing FIFA World Cup in Brazil after a 3-2 win over Chile via penalty. I'm sure I think this will lay to bed the protest that has been going on in that part of the country. And of course, Brazil are also hoping to go on to win the finals. Let's see how that goes. Some more days still left. Some big countries also still on the tournament. And of course, lots of news making the rounds. I think the biggest news in football has to do with the 4-month ban handed by FIFA to Luis Suarez for the biting row that took place within the week. We'll be looking at that. There's been a lot of reaction trailing that action as well. And for Manchester United, looks like all things are going their way right now in the transfer market, buying some couple of young players. Let's see how well they'll blend in the as far as the league season is concerned. And of course, in the world of tennis, the top seeds doing very well. Defending champion Andy Murray, very, very on point. Rafael Nadal, and of course the old wine, they call him Roger Federer, still doing very well. I think as far as the Wimbledon is concerned, it's still a long way to go. Olakunle Philip is joining me. Kunle, good to have you on the program.
Yeah, thank you, Browson. It's good to be back on the show. And, you know, we are just we've been witnessing some exciting game of football at the World Cup. And it's good to know that the host country, Brazil, has booked their place in the quarterfinal, becoming the first team to qualify for the quarterfinal as far as the World Cup is concerned. It's a good way to go, and we just hope and pray that come Monday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, Nigeria should be able to navigate their way against the Le Blues of France.
Of course, that's what is expected of the team. But then let's look at the Brazilian game. It took them to, they have to grind that win, you know, after the extra time penalty. And I was wondering, Uruguay, they lost their first 2 penalties. I'm sure they didn't have... the Chileans, they lost their first 2 penalties. I'm sure they didn't have a dress rehearsal for that.
Yeah, I think the Chileans, the Brazilians got more than what they actually expected. The Chileans took the game to them from blast of the whistle. You won't say, yes, the Brazilians actually dominated in the first 5-10 minutes of the game, but the Chileans came back and showed the Brazilians the reason why about the fact that they are getting to the next second round of the World Cup wasn't just a fluke, and they really gave them a good run for their money after the Brazilians got the first goal through David Luiz in the 18th minute. We had Sanchez, Alexis restoring parity in the 32nd minute, and it was almost like the Chileans were going to get that second goal to take them through. But of course, the Brazilian defense were really they really showed doggedness, resilience to stop the Chileans, particularly Sanchez, Alexis. But not taking it away also from the Brazilians, they also had their fair share. They took I remember a particular shot that was parried by the goalkeeper of the Chileans. It was a beautiful shot from Neymar, and also to deny the Brazilians. At some point in time, the Chileans were actually dominating possession. They had about 59, while the Brazilians had 41, and it was a very interesting and exciting game. Just like you said, and it almost looked like the Chileans didn't plan to actually play the
spot kick.
Yeah, the spot kick, and this actually came to full. The way the players actually took the kicks, I think it leaves less to be desired. For the Brazilians, we saw a beautiful display. I think the hero for tonight and victory for the Brazilians had to be Julio Cesar, who actually stood tall and, of course, denied the Chileans the chance of making it through to the next round.
Absolutely beautiful one for Brazil. And, of course, some former Chelsea defender scored while the current Chelsea player Williams lost a penalty there. And, of course, I was wondering what was in his mind when he played that penalty. But that's how football, you know, turns out sometimes. Let's quickly look at the fixtures of the round of 16. 1 game gone, 7 more to go. 10 p.m. It's going to be a kickoff for between Colombia and Uruguay. And Uruguay trailing with some controversy of what went down within the week. one of their star players will not be playing, Luis Suarez, and of course Colombia. They've done very well in this competition. You can't take that away from them.
Yeah, the Colombians haven't done badly. They are one of the countries that has scored 9 goals, one of the highest scoring teams as far as this World Cup is concerned. Getting all the needed points to book their passage into the next round, and almost becoming like, you know, in a very long time, the Colombian team hasn't been able to qualify for the next round of the World Cup. Even in 1994, when they were highly rated, when they had all the best players in their fold, the likes of Faustino Asprilla, and FIFA actually rated them to go far as far as the World Cup is concerned back then in 1994. But I think they didn't live up to billing at that time. Right now, when they were not even rated, despite the fact that they lost a very fantastic player in their ranks, talking about Ramadel Falcao, and they still went ahead and were still able to make it through to the next round against a Uruguayan team who is actually, you want to say, yes, the situation in camp, as far as the Uruguayan camp is concerned, is not too pleasant with that news about the ban on their star striker, Luis Suarez. You want to say, yes, this exactly is justified from my own perspective, and there must be a replacement to actually replace Luis Suarez when they take on Colombia today. It's going to be very tough for the Uruguayans today. Looking at the way both teams have actually played, looking at the groups there, when I say yes, I look at it from that the Uruguayans have actually weathered the storm against an Italian side who needed a draw. They were able to secure a victory in that game. So it's evenly poised, but from my own perspective, I think the Colombians should be able to capitalize on all the problems the Uruguayans have, and book their passage as well.
All right, of course, a quick rundown of the fixtures right there on your TV screen. Colombia will take on Uruguay. That game kicks off by 10. Costa Rica will play Greece. Germany will play host to Algeria. Belgium, of course, will play host to the United States of America. And, of course, the tournament favorite, Netherlands, will play Mexico. Of course, the one that concerns everyone, France will take on Nigeria, while Argentina will play Switzerland. And good news, Nigeria lands in Brasilia. Kashi has been talking tough ahead of this game, and the players as well in very, very good form against France. How do you think that game will turn out?
Yeah, it's going to be very tough. It's going to be very interesting, but I feel that we have a very good chance against the Les Bleus of France. But I think one thing players should learn is that they shouldn't do all the talking on the pages of newspapers. Look at what Karim Benzema said some couple of days ago. He said, look, Nigerian team is a very strong team, and they are really going to have to fight if they are going to have to secure a victory against the Super Eagles. And on the part of their coach, Didier Deschamps, they said, look, the Nigerians are physical, they are very good. And you saw the way they played against the mighty Argentina, Celeste side. And, it's going to really be very tough if they are going to be able to get a victory against Nigeria. But on the part of our Eagles, it has always been, yes, we will beat the French team, we will embarrass them. That's not the way to go. Let's just keep our tactics. Let's remain at low key. Let's get our tactics right. And who says we can't beat the French team despite the fact that they've scored a number, about 6 goals as far as this tournament is concerned, and they've been firing on all cylinders. And I remember some couple of years ago we met the French team at France. It was a friendly game which involved the two of us, and at the end of the day we actually got a victory against them. 1-0 it ended in favor of Nigeria. The goal was scored by Joseph Akpala after a beautiful work was actually done by Ikechukwu Uche. We don't have Ikechukwu Uche in this team as we speak right now, but I remember the way he actually took on the likes of Patrick Evra and the other defenders in the French team. So I think the guys can actually reenact. We don't have Ikechukwu Uche, we don't have Joseph Akpala, but we have a certain Emmanuel Emenike who can power his way, navigate his way against any tough opposition when it comes to the World Cup as we speak right now.
But then looking at the way we considered goal against Argentina, doesn't that scare you? It shows that our defenders doesn't know how to deal with set pieces. We saw the third goal for me was a very shambolic one coming from a corner, a very cheap, and of course Lionel Messi converting that beautiful. And of course, looking at how they scored the first goal as well, I think it puts a lot of question mark on the part of our defense line.
Definitely, there's some certain frailties in our defense, but I think the major problem we have in the Nigerian national team right now, the team playing at the World Cup, is the problem of the midfield. I think our midfielders are not coming to the party as we speak right now. Apart from Mugeyo Nazi, who tends to always raise his game. The other player, the real one the real player that we actually rely on, talking about John Mikel Obi, hasn't come to the party at all, which is actually affecting us. Once the midfielders are not, the midfield is not functioning well, and once they take the ball from their defense, they run past the midfield and you go straight to the defenders. That is exactly what happens. You get to expose the defenders, and you can pay heavily for that. I think this was exactly what happened. I wouldn't say the defenders didn't do well because if you look at the way Ambrose Efe played, Joseph Yobo and Kenneth Omeruo, not forgetting Joe Oshaniwa, who also has been very impressive. Really, they had their work cut out. They lost concentration when this the crosses are coming in, but at least they've done very well. The midfielders should come to the party, and once they're able to come to the party, once the midfield is choked, it's locked up, it will be very difficult to actually get past them. You understand? Then you go straight to the midfielder, to the defenders. But once the midfield is so easy, is vulnerable, is weak, then it's straight to the defenders, and they can make a lot of mistakes.
And of course, that's it. So it's 5 p.m. kickoff time on Monday. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will be slugging it out with the French national side for a place to be in the quarterfinals. And if that goes through, it would be a record-breaking for the Stephen Keshi-led side, because it would be the first time the Nigerian team would be progressing to the quarterfinals of the FIFA World Cup. And of course, the Super Eagles, we can only hope that they'll fly very high. And of course, quickly before we go out of the World Cup, let's look at another African representative, Algeria, quickly. They've done very well. I think they've represented the continent very well. Even if they crash out of the next round, we'll give it to them. They like the big guns. Ivory Coast, they're out. Ghanaian national team, they did their best, but they're also out of the tournament.
Yeah, I think the Algerians have done very well. Nigeria, Algeria have a lot of things in common.
They have the RIA in common.
The names look very similar, and also the colors of the national flag. I think the Algerians actually did very well. Look at the way they played against South Korea, and they showed why they're actually there, and why they are rated as the #1 team in the African soil as we speak right now. Before the World Cup, they displaced the Cameroonians, the Ivorians, I beg your pardon, to move to the summit as far as the FIFA ranking is concerned from the African continent. They've done very well, and the game against Uruguay was a game that a lot of people actually expected them to falter, because coming from the fact that owing to the fact that they are not really experienced. You want to say the Russians had experience in their on their side, and they took the lead. They came back, and they got the equalizer, which is really very good for the Argentines. It's a well-deserved victory for them. How well they are able to they will fare against the German team is left to be seen. Remember, in 1982, they played against the West Germany, and they defeated West Germany by 2-1. And who says this cannot be reenacted when they take on the German team? Remember, the Ghanaians played against the German team. They made them look ordinary. And, at some point in time, they were almost scoring the third goal. Remember that blunder by Jordan Ayew, the son of Abedi Ayew Pele. And, they were still able to get a draw. It looks, the German team looks like a team that is very beatable. If the Algerians can play up to their potentials, I think they can get the result against the Germans.
That's what it is. If they can play to their potential, who says maybe we would have 2 African teams progressing to the next round of the FIFA
qualify. We both meet in the quarterfinals.
In the quarterfinals, I think that would be a cracker. I want to see that game happen anyway.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, away from that, let's look at some footballing story. Luis Suarez made headlines this week, but not for very good reasons. And there have been a lot of controversy, and he has been handed a 4-month ban. And of course, that means that he's automatically out of the World Cup. And he would miss, I think, like 7 games in the Premier League.
Close to 9 games.
Close to 9 games in the Premier League. That's a very huge one for Liverpool.
Yeah, it's a huge one, but for Luis Suarez, that bite on Cellini in that game leaves less a bit. I was actually disappointed, and even when the game was going on, I was wondering why the referee and his assistant didn't see that, and why they didn't give him the matching order. But I knew that FIFA were going to react swiftly to the incident. I think I don't know why some people are beginning to they're actually castigating FIFA for meting out such punishment to Luis Suarez. The likes of Diego Armando Maradona. But you begin to wonder, BROWNSON, those who are actually are making this protest are people who have bad records when it comes to indulging in the act of things that they are not supposed to indulge in when it comes to world football. Diego Armando Maradona is the number one. He's making all the he's been castigating FIFA over the ban, and I think it's well deserved. Someone who actually was involved in something of this nature when he was playing the street with Ajax of Amsterdam, he got punished, came to Liverpool, and beat the heir of Bratislav Ivanovic, and got punished as well. And he's doing this at the World Stage.
Also, he was punished for the racism row against Patrice Evra.
Absolutely. I think this guy got what he deserved. Even if
But Kunle, on a serious note, don't you think it's a little too much for him?
Absolutely. No, Brownson, it's not much. I think it's a well-deserved punishment for someone who cannot keep his teeth closed. I don't understand the reason why a person will have an issue with his mate on the field. It's against the conduct of football. You're supposed to do the playing on the field. You're not supposed to use your teeth to actually punish anybody on the field. So for me, FIFA is spot on. They've done very well, and Luis Suarez should pay heavily for that embarrassment on the field of play.
All right, of course, as a result of that, Uruguayan coach Oscar Tabarez has quit FIFA position. Of course, I think that's as a protest to the ban.
Yeah, definitely, if you are a coach, you have to give support to your players, even if you feel they didn't do well. You have to show solidarity to them. I think that is what Tabarez is actually doing. It's disappointing. I think it's a shameful act. Looking at the way it all went down, the way these guys are actually making this protest, you begin to wonder if we all didn't see the incident happening. It was a bite on Cellini, and it was it was also for everybody to see. So for him, quitting the two FIFA posts is actually being appointed. I think, that's just trying to show that he's actually showing loyalty to his player. But I think it's just a wrong move towards the wrong direction.
All right, of course, let's see how well that goes. Away from that to Manchester United, good news coming from there for all the fans. I think there are a lot of things to smile about now. That's away from that story there. Manchester United signs Southampton defender Luke Shaw for £27 million, a move that have led a lot of people raising an eyebrow that the amount is a little too much for a defender.
Yeah, it's not too much. Looking at the potentials in Luke Shaw, you might say yes, he's a young man. He's actually 18 years, and he actually became one of the youngest players to ever play for England at the World Cup. You remember he played the game against Costa Rica, and he didn't do badly from our own perspective. I think the move is actually, Southampton actually wanted £31 million. You can imagine they got £27 million.
But don't you think English players have proven to be overrated over time?
Yeah, no, yes, you might say yes. So, based on the results they get, looking at the way they played at the World Cup, the fact that they got exited, they exited in the first round of the World Cup, you might say yes, the players are actually overrated. But you can't actually heap the blame on one or two players. I think all the players that played for England are actually culprits. In the case of Luke Shaw, I don't think he's overrated. He's a very, very good player, and the move is well deserved.
All right, move well deserved according to Olakunle Philip. I'm sure you don't know my take. All right, away from that, former Manchester United manager seems to be. Looks like very soon he would be smiling to the bank when the sign-on fee is completed, as David Moyes holds talks to become the next coach of Galatasaray. It's a move that I think he should just move out of England and try something else.
Yes, absolutely. But from the look of things, from what the president of Galatasaray has said, they said it's not their number one target as we speak right now. And they said it was actually in Istanbul to hold a meeting with the president, but the president actually said they are not. They just had, and it was like an advisory meeting between the two, and their top target has to be Joe Liu, the coach of the German team right now, who is at the World Cup, who is coaching, Justin Loh, and also Jürgen Klinsmann. So they said these are their two targets. They actually parted ways with Roberto Mancini.
Yeah.
After they parted by on mutual consent. And you know, the Turkish giant actually wants to take. They were disappointed with Mancini for not winning the league, but they went ahead to win the Turkish league. But they want a coach who can actually make things happen for them.
All right, of course. Before we look at tennis quickly, Liverpool set to sign Southampton midfielder Adam Lallana. And of course, a lot of money has been tabled for the young man. But if that move go through, I think it would be a very good addition. I've been following his progress. A very fantastic player.
Yeah, fantastic player. You saw what he did at the World Cup. He actually played the game against the Italians. Also played. He came in as a second half substitute against the Italians and also against the Uruguayans, and played from start to finish against the Costa Ricans. So it's a good move. If they are able to secure a signature, I think it would be a good buy for them.
All right, of course, absolutely. Let's see how the transfer window progresses. Still a lot of time to go. The league kickstart next month. But quickly, let's go to the world of tennis. Rafael Nadal had a very convincing victory. Won 6-7, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1 against Mikhail Kukushki today. And of course, the old wine, they call him Roger Federer, had a very good victory, 6-3, 6-1, 6-3 over Santiago Giraldo today. A very beautiful victory. And of course, on the women's side, Maria Sharapova was 6-3, 6-love better than Alison Risque. Very good one for, I think, the top seeded player in this tournament. I don't know what happened in clay, but it looks like in grass. The top seeded players are getting it right this time.
But Nadal is actually dropping sets. He has actually been dropping sets.
It doesn't matter. He's winning his games.
He's winning. He's coming back and winning in grand style, which is actually good for him. But of course, I look at the way Roger Federer played tonight. It was really outstanding against Santiago Giraldo. He was very outstanding in that game. You begin to wonder why Santiago was actually didn't do so well. He didn't give the Fed Express any problem during the game. You begin to wonder if he was actually waiting for the game to end so that he can go watch the game between involving Colombia
and
Brazil, and you know, which that's the other game, the second game.
Do you think Roger Federer is gradually picking form?
Yeah, it's a good. He has been doing well since last year, since he changed his coach. I think he has actually improved, and with the way he's playing, he's going to give the big guns a good run for their money.
And of course, the women's side is what's most interesting for me. The Williams sisters are still very much in contention.
Yeah, it's from, I think, today. I think Serena Williams actually played today, and from the feelers we're getting, I think he didn't win the first set, but we've not really been able to get the result of the game. It's still going to be the big guns actually running the show. I really don't see any of those the upcoming, or you want to say the pretenders are coming to make any creating any upset as far as the women tennis singles is concerned.
All right, of course, looks like grass court is a home for all the big players. Let's see how well they'll hold on to it. I think for me it's becoming very, very interesting. We'll be following the progress, and next week on the show we'll be giving you results, and of course we should be hitting home stretch as far as the World Cup and Wimbledon is concerned. How time flies when we talk sports. Kunle, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, my pleasure, BROWNSON.
All right, of course, that's where we'll draw the curtain on sports update today. Do join us next week when we'll come back with a bigger and better edition. My name is BROWNSON UNWANA. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good night rest.
Power style, and that's what he delivered.
Usain Bolt storming through. He takes
Puyol with a flying leap.
Though taking them out in the lead and really.
He pulls up for a three. Yes.
A big shout for a handball. He's in. Fernando Torres.